Welcome, Tahira and David, 12 cubed, great conversations about Valuegraphics and the magic that they bring. Let's go.
Let's do it.
David, what a pleasure it has been to really deep dive into Valuegraphics with you. We've been talking about Valuegraphics for a long time, a couple of years at least. And I just think that the tools that you bring are so valuable. I want to go back, and I'm going to look at this really fully just through a site lens, because that's what I'm living in right now as we navigate COVID. We started the year with, such trajectory, such momentum, such good plans, membership at an all-time high, coming off of a global conference that was unlike any other global conference we'd had, biggest numbers ever. So excited about the year that was ahead, amazing trips planned, countries that we were going to be able to really work with our chapters and have a huge impact in. And now we all know what's happened, like whoosh, no travel, really still trying to stay connected and to support our chapters and to really support our industry and see where we can go. So the hospitality travel, incentive travel industry, it's been devastated.
Yes.
So how can we, as we start to use our creativity and our personal responsibility and our need for security and a great desire to make a difference, what are some of those values and how can we apply them as we go forward?
Well, the thing to keep in mind is, regardless of the organization that you're talking about, regardless of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, first off, let me start by saying congratulations on all that amazing momentum, on that amazing conference. I was so glad to be able to come and speak there, and it was a phenomenal thing. Everybody I ran into there was just gobsmacked at how brilliant of a job you'd done in putting that whole thing together, you and the rest of your team. And it must really hurt to see that momentum and that forward motion suddenly curtailed by circumstances beyond your control. But that's not unique to you guys. Banks are going through this, small retailers are going through this, everybody on the planet Earth is going through this. It's an amazing sociological experiment that we've all been witness to. I don't think I can think of another moment in history where the entire planet has had to change behavior so radically, so quickly, all at once. So that's pretty interesting to watch. And what it's driven home for me, and what I think is a great way to end this series of conversations that we're having, is the idea that it doesn't matter what happens, it always comes back to what people care about. If we need to find a way to retool and redirect, the answer is, what do these people care about? How can we use that as a way to refocus on a new direction? If the question is, do we need to become something other than what we were before? What could that possibly be? The answer is in the values of the people that you're trying to do this for. It's always about what our core values are. It's always about how we can find a way to help human beings satisfy their natural desire to chase the things that they care about most. So understanding the values of the people that you're doing a thing for, that you have an association for, that you have a product, service, brand, institution, idea, it doesn't really matter what we're talking about. If you don't understand what people care about, you're operating with one or maybe two hands tied behind your back, because you have no way of understanding what the compass is telling you to do. As outside forces and external environmental factors come in and impact what your plans are, what's the line? The best laid plans of mouse and men, right? Mice and men. So Moses and men, Moses and people, because men sounds a little sexist these days. We need to rewrite that whole line.
Let's do it.
But you need the compass, the moral and values-based compass. The right answer has to be about what people care about, what makes us human, not outdated ideas about demographics, outdated ideas about psychographics. None of that stuff really matters, and none of that stuff is lasting. Values are forever. We're all going to have the values we have right now for the rest of our lives. So let's use those as a way to plan a better future, figure out where we need to go next, what the opportunities are that are in front of us, not to just recover, but improve and come out of this stronger and better than we went into it in the first place. I think you have to admit that the world trajectory we were on beforehand seemed to have a lot of momentum and a lot of forward motion, and your organization, everything I've ever been involved with, it was all going forward in a really great way. we got so busy and so tied up in what we were doing that I think some of the really important issues for humanity were perhaps being left by their wayside. They were the bodies in the hallway.
I think it was easier to ignore the fact that, cities like, Venice and Barcelona and many areas of the world that are suffering from over-tourism, many parts of the world that are really truly suffering from fundamental climate change. Those are big issues that are, we're like, the planet is healing itself and it's cleaning itself up. Well, that's because we just took a little pause. So I feel like we need to be careful as we go back that we don't all of a sudden just go back exactly as we were, that we forget to spend time with our family because we get so busy again, that we don't take care of ourselves because we're so busy again. So I think that it's about what are those fundamental values and keeping them forefront and not letting ourselves get submersed by busyness.
On a personal level, we did a study and asked people, a statistically accurate number of people, what happened to them during the isolation period, during this pandemic, that they made them stop and go, I would like to keep doing this. It's something I wasn't doing before. I want this to carry on in the rest of my life. So I thought this was really interesting. The number one answer was, I want to spend more time with my family. The number two answer was, I don't want to spend more time with my family, but I want to communicate with them more. So I need to get out of the room, but being in touch, I'm good with that part. Number three answer was, I want to communicate more often with my friends. I want to just be in touch with them. I want to talk with them. I want to have some kind of connection with my friends. And the fourth answer, the only other one that was statistically significant enough to pull out of the data, was I want to continue doing projects and personal growth and learning and becoming a better version of myself. So I think it's really interesting that at the end of the day, what it comes down to is people are realizing as a result of this little moment that we've had to all pause, the people around me are really important. And just learning stuff and taking the time to think about new things. Those are really beautiful thoughts to come out of this. And if we can even just use those two data points as a way to drive forward, I think
those data points make me feel incredibly hopeful for the future of the events industry, because I think that what we offer with face-to-face experiences is maybe time with your family. Maybe that becomes part of a family-led experiences.
Family for sure.
But it really is about that time with friends. That's why we go to events, is because we have a peer group and a friend group who are part of it. And if they're not part of it when we get there, we leave with friends and a peer group. And that personal growth, which is so critical. And I think you're exactly right. I mean, it's like, let's stop talking about it as education and programming for a learning, but let's program for a transformation. Let's program for something that gives you that lift of something shifted in me and I'm a better person because of it. Not I learned how to add 2 and 2 together, but I made it into 5 because of. And I think that that's really, thank you for that. I feel really, that's a good.
I think we've said it before, and maybe it's a really good way for us to close. That the incentive travel industry, the events industry, the meetings industry, any of the sectors in this amazing industry that you work in, and I'm fortunate enough to sort of be adjacent to, will become even more vital and important in the coming months and years than they've ever been before. We've all had an opportunity to see what it's like to not get together. So the opportunities that are offered for us to get together are going to be incredibly meaningful if we do them right. And the way to do them right is by focusing on what people care about. Don't give them the easy answers. Don't give them the things we've always done before. Don't break your events up in our travel incentive programs into golf versus spa versus high adventure. Break them up into things based on what we understand the folks we're doing this for, what they care about, what they're chasing, what their values are, what they spend every waking moment, consciously and subconsciously, trying to find ways to get more of and avoid anything that might harm those things. If we can just get to that point, if we use that as a way to understand each other, then these divisive, nasty stereotypes about male versus female, rich, poor, young, old, educated, senior in an organization and juniors in an organization, all of these artificial constructs we put up around the way we think about each other, wipe the board and think about each other based on what we care about. Way better world.
Way better world. Thank you so much, David. Let's end there, because that is, I feel like we're going to create a way better world using data. Thank you.
I agree. Can we do these?
Yeah, totally.